up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.
You are listening to Pizain's podcast.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna
Welcome to another episode of Pizain's podcast. I am your host, Pizain the Pizain. Before we get started, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and download our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all of them. Just search Three Bozos. You'll find all of our podcasts. There's a pretty good collection now. I do a lot of these. Then we do the ones on the weekends. I think we got about 6 of them for the weekend ones, and shit, I don't even know for the daily ones. It's a lot, though. So we really appreciate it if you'll listen to all of them. Also, social media. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and X. We're on all 3. Give us a follow, comment, let us know you're there. We really appreciate it. So, you know the drill. Today was a very full day for Pizain the Pizain. I had we got the keys to our new building at work, and it was a pretty momentous day. The new office is dope. It's big, a lot of space, and it's really cool. Got the electricity that'll be turned on tomorrow. Got that all taken care of. Then I went over and looked at some office furniture. Got to get a new desk. Got to get everybody a new desk. And then after that, I went over once again to the Best Buy. I went to a different Best Buy this time. And lo and behold, there was the iPad Pro that I've longed to get. And as I played with it, I confirmed not talking myself out of it this time. So I approached the customer service representative to help me with my purchase. And I'm very particular in the iPad Pro I want the one with the 13-inch screen, the brand new one. I want a silver one, not black. All my phones and tablets have always been black. And this time I wanted a silver one. Then they come in different sizes for your storage. It's like a 250, a 512 gigabytes, and a terabyte and 2 terabytes. And me being the person I am, I don't need 1 terabyte. That's a little excessive. And I don't want as little as 200 and whatever. I wanted 512 heart set, that Magic Keyboard, Apple Pen Pro, whole shebang, ready to drop 2 G's on that motherfucker. Then I asked the gentleman, I would like these items. And what does he tell me? I'm sorry, sir. We don't have that in stock. Don't have it in stock. You have ruined my day, good sir. Goodbye. Didn't even wait for him to offer to order it for me and have it delivered to the store. If that was the case, I would have ordered it on Amazon, you fool. Like I'm going to wait for some Best Buy clerk to get it for me. What do I look like, a boomer? So I looked next door and there's a Verizon store. We have Verizon. I figured, hey, let's go check them out. So I go in there and the schmarmy sales fuck trying to upgrade me before I even had a chance to spout what I wanted. Motherfucker, I am coming to buy the most expensive thing you have in this fucking store. So I tell him what I want. Silver iPad Pro, 13-inch, 512 gigabytes. I'm sorry, sir. We don't have that on stock, but I'll go ahead and order. Fuck you, I'm out. So I walk right out. Lo and behold, Yet again, I did not get my iPad Pro on this day until I got home. And I said, fuck that noise. I'm going to do it myself. So I hopped on Amazon. I ordered that bitch with 2 years of Apple Protect Plus. And it'll all be here tomorrow. And I can join the Apple cult with the masses. Pizain the Pizain is now an Apple nerd. Anywho, on to the news. Oh, news. Let's start with this story. Trump campaign steps up vice presidential vetting efforts. Oh, no. Looks like Trump is gonna be choosing his VP soon, his running mate. Former President Donald Trump's campaign has begun requesting information from his potential vice presidential candidates, sending vetting paperwork to a list of top contenders in recent weeks, according to 2 people familiar with the effort. Among those who have received requests are North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. If you don't remember him, he was in the Republican debates, and he looks like a combination of Count Chocula and one of the old men from the Muppets show that was up in the balcony that would make fun of everything, every episode. He's a goofy looking motherfucker. I don't know why he would pick him. Seems kind of stupid. Yeah, like everything you really don't want in a vice president. You got to have one. You have to have something. You have to be like, attractive, comely looking, or smart, or well spoken. This guy's from North fucking Dakota. And, well, at least he didn't shoot his dog like the one from South Dakota. Fuck that bitch. I think she was was it Kristi Noem? I think she was the candidate. She was going to be vice president because she was like a smarter Sarah Palin at the time. That's what she came off like, at least. And then out came her memoirs where she shot her dog in the fucking face because it was unruly. I'm sorry. I don't use this word often for women, but what a cunt. I say that with as much as possible. I don't even know if I had this much disdain for Michael Vick. Well, Michael Vick was a little worse. Yeah, fuck him. But still, it's on the same level. Fuck that bitch. But yeah, she was going to be the vice presidential candidate. Now they're kind of scrambling. They don't really know who to pick. Here's some more names. Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is, well, he called him a robot. Kind of almost destroyed his entire presidential dreams, I guess, in the first 2016 debates. Called him a robot, which he came off robotic. I have never liked Marco Rubio much. He came, when I used to work corporate, he actually came into our office and did like a photo op with some people there. And, I kind of got to meet him and everything. And honestly, he's like, what do they call it? Milk toast? I don't even know how you say that word. I never claimed to be smart. Sometimes I come off like maybe I am. I'm not. I'm a fucking idiot. I fuck up words all the time. I say things that, aren't even words sometimes. So I'm just a regular fucking guy doing the news, giving you my take. I might read a little more news than the average person. Doesn't mean I'm smarter. I know tons of people smarter than me. Yeah, but whatever. This is fun. So, and you know what? If you want to listen to people who are experts, go turn on the news. Yeah, there's plenty of people over there who know more than me on there. A lot of them are trying to, I don't know, manipulate you, but they're smarter. So, but not all of them. Some of them are pretty fucking stupid too. So, hey, maybe I'm just right there in the middle. I'll take that. Who else we got? We got Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, and I think that's the guy with the beard. He's a little stocky, but like I don't really know who he is. And South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. That will be the pick. That clicks all the boxes. He was a strong presidential candidate, and I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, he's black. Yeah. So there you go. You're fooling yourself if you don't think that these candidates pick some of these people based on race. Like Biden picked Kamala because she was a person of color. Definitely wasn't for her smarts, because she's dumb as a fucking bag of rocks. She's stupid as fuck. She really likes school buses for some reason. You got to get where you're going if you're going to get going. And, Trump would be doing the same thing, but I still find Tim Scott to be more presidential than Kamala Harris. I actually could see Tim Scott being president one day, whereas Kamala, unless Joe Biden dies, which if he wins, it could very well happen. That's the only way she's going to be president. She would never win an election in a million fucking years. According to one of the people who spoke of conditions of anatomy and anonymity to discuss the outreach, Florida Republicans Byron Donalds, New York Republican Elise Stefanik, and Trump's 2016 rival turned cabinet member Ben Carson were also said to be on the list. Ben Carson's another one. He's a smart dude and also black. So, he might do it. I think it's probably going to be Tim Scott. If I bet money, it'd probably be Tim Scott. Yeah, nothing else really about that. If it were me, I would want Vivek Ramaswamy. I love Vivek. I might be in the minority there, but I'll tell you why I like him. He is the closest thing we could have to a libertarian president, even though he's not. He actually used to be, and now he's like gone more conservative. But he has a lot of libertarian tendencies, I guess you could say, which I really like. A lot of the stuff he's been bashed on, it was short, debate clips. And most of the time it was one guy talking louder than the other, and then the crowd, clapping over that. If you've ever heard him in long form podcast talk, which he's done a lot of them, my favorite being Dave Smith and Part of the Problem, I recommend listening to that podcast. That's a good one. He's a pretty smart guy, and he has a lot of answers for a lot of things, and I like his policies. Not going to happen though. I think he gets too much hate. They call him like a little Trump, he is kind of Trumpian in the way that he thinks, he's a little bit more palatable than Trump, I think. But I would also bet money that he's going to be in his cabinet somewhere. He's just been too supportive of him the entire time, and they seem to get along. Ron DeSantis also would have been a really good VP, but I think they had too much of a falling out with the whole presidential race, and he kind of went too hard on DeSantis. I'll tell you what, I was a little disappointed in DeSantis. I've liked him as a Florida governor, not so much as a presidential candidate. He just came out as like canned answers, nothing seemed personal. It never seemed like he came out. It was just like his talking points by his people the entire time. I think he got a little bit more of who he really was when he debated Gavin Newsom. And I think he won that debate. But yeah, I'm okay with him staying as governor. He is getting a little authoritarian, though. Some of his latest policies are just a little like, all right, back it off a little, Ronnie. But yeah, I think the initial thing was the initial thing, there's been steps to this. A lot of shit's happened along the way, you know. I think the whole plan was Trump was going to run and DeSantis was going to be his VP. And DeSantis is like, no, sir, I want to be president now, so I'm going to run. Then they had the bad blood, and he's like, all right, well, I'll move on to the next person. That's going to be Kristi Noem. She was like everywhere, man. You can look at a conservative news source and not see her everywhere. And then the dog thing happened. And they're like, oh shit, what's plan C? And this is plan C. All of these guys, I would bet money, though, it is going to be Tim Scott. So, okay. I think we've talked enough about Trump's vice president nominees. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. I think they're going to pick him, what I saw, maybe just before the Republican National Convention. Hopefully he's not in jail by then. You know, who knows? A lot more things could happen before now and then. Which brings me to Trump's conviction prompts election year debate among Democrats. How much to focus on the verdict? Inside his Delaware headquarters, President Joe Biden's campaign is signaling it will incorporate Donald Trump's recent felony conviction as a core element of the Democratic incumbent's re-election message. But in nearby battleground Pennsylvania, a state that could decide control of Congress and the presidency this fall, Democrats are far from certain that Trump's criminal records matters to voters at all. It'll have an effect, but a fairly small effect, former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell said of Trump's recent 34 felony convictions in the New York hush money case. I don't think we can count on it. We've got to get out and win the election talking about the things that are important. And it kind of goes on and on about like that. So I agree with that. This isn't going to hurt Trump's, popularity. Who's going to vote for him. It's not going to hurt him at all. They know who Trump is. They know who he is. With this happening, it's like, okay, well, whatever. Well, I kind of figured something like this would happen. If anything, it kind of makes him look. It's either one thing. You either kind of always knew he was a criminal, or you think he's being railroaded by the system, which gives him sympathy. You know, there really isn't anybody who was like, oh, this conviction, it got me one way or the other. You know, you either thought that he was what you thought he was, or you think he's getting railroaded. I personally think he's getting railroaded. A lot of people think he's getting railroaded. It's kind of an unprecedented, case and trial and everything, even how the judge behaved. You can look into all that. We've kind of talked about that in the past. So that brings me to, is Joe Biden going to do a victory lap around Donald Trump and just call him a convict over and over and over again? I don't think that's a good strategy for Joe Biden. I think he's better off focusing on what their plan is for the next 4 years to change the country around, and not about Donald Trump being a felon. You had Bill Clinton, the whole thing with Monica Lewinsky, and he got impeached and all that. And his popularity did not plummet at all during all of that. In fact, it probably rose. It was like must-see TV because everybody knew what Bill Clinton was. Everybody knew he was a womanizer. I've already, in past podcasts talked about how much of a scumbag Bill Clinton is. Multiple rape allegations. Mysteriously, everyone dies around him. They get suicided or they get Epsteined. His wife is a terrible hag, unlikable. But at that time, yeah, everybody knew what Bill Clinton was. Their opinions didn't change just because he got impeached and then found out he got a BJ in the office, from a young intern. So if he can do that, then this with Trump just doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So, yeah, Yeah. They should back off on that. Focus on the things that actually matter for this country. What are you going to do to lower inflation, to reduce interest rates, to get the housing market back where it needs to be? What are you going to do about the border? What are you going to do about a myriad of other things that we should focus on? So, anyway, there you go. Other than that, let's see. The MDMA proposal rejected. A federal advisory panel yesterday voted not to recommend the psychedelic drug MDMA for, that's also known as Molly, if you're a fucking square and didn't know that, for treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, flagging the drug's risks of abuse, potential for heart problems, and inadequate data. No shit, people are going to abuse Molly. The vote comes amid a resurgence of medical interest in the hallucinogens long associated with high-risk recreation use. It talks about what MDMA is for you squares. MDMA is first of a group of psychedelics, including LSD and Joe Rogan can always say this, and I can't. Psilocybin expected to come up for federal approval, and psilocybin is mushrooms. I've heard some good things about microdosing. I've heard that for people with post-traumatic stress disorder, it works wonders for them. In fact, if we just use this shit for people with PTSD, especially, and I'm not talking about fake PTSD, I'm talking about like real, people watch their friends get blown up into a million pieces overseas. Yeah, like those people. If this helps them and nothing else does, I mean, fuck, man, come on, Yeah, there's a risk of abuse, but I mean, what drug doesn't have a risk of abuse? Some of the shit we have out there is like way, way, way worse than this stuff. I don't know. Even if they do it in a controlled environment, like they have to go to a place and have it administered. Then again, I don't know. It might be an inconvenient of the frequency you have to do it. Honestly, I'm not too well read on this, but I do have to say that if it does help people like that, the people with PTSD, then let's at least make a case for them to be able to use it. The panel's recommendation now heads to the Food and Drug Administration for a final ruling by August 11th. So we'll do a follow up on that sometime. Here's another. This is a big story. MLB gambling scandal. Major League Baseball yesterday banned San Diego Padres infielder. I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Tucupita Marcano. We'll just call him TM. TM for life for violating its gambling policy by betting on the sport. TM is the first active MLB player to face a lifetime ban under the policy since New York Giants outfielder Jimmy O'Connell in 1924. All-time MLB hits leader Pete Rose was banned in 1989, 3 years after retiring. That is a shame that Pete Rose is still banned from the Hall of Fame. The guy is the all-time hits leader. Nobody has had more hits ever in the MLB than Pete Rose. He was a gamer. He was the guy that would truck the catcher every single time at home plate. And yeah, I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. And some stupid betting thing he did as a coach where, according to him, he didn't even bet on his team, but whatever. How much do coaches really affect I mean, I guess that some of them do. It's still a shame. It's still a shame. They should lift the ban for Pete Rose. I used to have this. It was like an artist rendition of Pete Rose, like diving into home plate and, a bunch of different poses. He's like at the, batter's box and everything. And it was autographed by him. It was cool. I used to hang up on my wall. And then this was back in college and somebody broke into my room. Motherfucking thief stole it right off my wall. Right next to that was a Dan Marino plaque. It had a big poster. It wasn't too big. It was like an 8x11. And it was autographed by him. And then it had a card holder in it. And that was his rookie card. It was my prized possession. As I am a huge Miami Dolphins fan since the age of 3 years old when I first saw Dan Marino play in the NFL. And ever since, I've been a huge Dolphins fan. So that was my pride and joy. And yeah, some motherfucker stole that off my wall too. I was devastated. All right, well, this story goes on and on and on and on. And you get the idea. Another dude getting banned. It's unprecedented because it doesn't happen very often. It's like 3 people ever. So he's pretty fucking stupid, though. He bet 25 bets. No, he placed 387 baseball bets, totaling over $150K from October 22 to November 23. Yeah. That's like peanuts for these guys, too. That's not a lot of money. What a fucking stupid ass. Well, oh well. They don't play when it comes to betting. All right, well. Like we do every episode, let's do a day in history. The U.S. moves off gold standard, which was a huge, giant mistake. We should still be on the gold standard. Bobby Kennedy is shot at campaign rally, dies the next day. Shady, shady. CIA, maybe. President Ronald Reagan dies in 2004. Science fiction writer Ray Bradbury dies in 2012. And fashion designer Kate Spade dies in 2018. And here's a quote from Mr. Bobby Kennedy. Change, although it involves risk, is the law of life. Well, I can tell you one thing that's never going to change. My love for this podcast. And one thing that hopefully does change is the amount of listeners that we gain over the coming weeks and months and years. Yes, years. I plan on doing this for a while. It's too much fun. And although it involves risk, like doxing myself to people I don't even know, it is the law of my life, because my life has now become, well, your life. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and follow our podcast. Search for 3 Bozos wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on social media, X, TikTok, and Instagram. Search 3 Bozos. Look for the 3 scary clowns wearing snazzy suits. That's us. Give us a follow and comment. Well, that's all I have today for you fine people.